Triceratops, Tyrannosaurus.
Since 1993, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers have been showing up to the scene in style, appearing again and again throughout the years. But just what happened to that original morphing sequence? And how has it changed over time? Hop aboard the Rainbow Line. It's our next station.
I gotta morph.
Power Rangers began in 1993 as an adaptation of the Japanese franchise Super Sentai. Here in America, we'd be given footage of the Rangers in Japan fighting while suited up, splice it with the newly filmed American footage, and thus create a retelling of the story for Western audiences. This being the case, there needed to be a smooth transition between our heroes being presented fully on camera to the helmeted costume Rangers filmed in Japan. Thus, the morphing sequence was born. Or adapted. Well, similarly to the method used in the Japanese counterpart, the transition scene from an American civilian on camera to a ranger fighting in a suit was filmed specifically for the purpose of being reused again and again throughout every episode, as opposed to having to film a new scene every time. Cost-cutting and effective. This can first be seen as early as the pilot episode. The morphing sequence from the pilot episode uses brief footage from its Super Sentai counterpart before overlaying American footage of our actors throwing up their power morphers and shouting the name of their dinosaurs.
Pterodactyl, saber-toothed tiger, mastodon, Triceratops, Tyrannosaurus.
Once Mighty Morphin Power Rangers would officially hit the scene, we'd be greeted with a new morphing sequence with a style all of its own. Each actor poses brandishing the power morpher enclosed within an enlarged power morpher with lightning filling inside. As evident from the branding, thunder and lightning were very much a big part of Power Rangers' visual identity. We can hear lightning strikes throughout every episode, including fights, as well as the morphing sequence itself. The actors are also wearing clothing of a solid color, meant to be keyed out. This is to dispel any continuity issues, being that the clip is to be used throughout the entire show and the characters obviously would be changing their clothes from day to day. Hence why we only see the morpher, their head, and their arms. As the morph begins, each ranger shouts out the name of their designated dinosaur, one after another. Mastodon, Pterodactyl, Triceratops, saber-toothed tiger, and ending with Tyrannosaurus. The sequence then concludes with partial stock footage from the Sentai counterpart, Ranger, in which the Red Ranger's helmet is formed out of a wireframe. However, this ending shot is only ever present if the Red Ranger himself is present. Otherwise, the morph will end with a flash fade to white and transitioning into the suited footage.
It's morphin' time. Mastodon! Oh man! Mastodon!
The order that the Rangers call out their Zords nearly always remained consistent, even when only a few of them were called into battle as opposed to the full original 5.
It's morphin' time! Triceratops! Saber-toothed tiger! It's morphin' time. Mastodon! Saber-toothed tiger!
When Tommy Oliver entered the scene as the Green Ranger, his call would always be placed at the front before Zack, and would strangely feature a split second of white before the rest of the team would continue.
Dragon Sword! Mastodon! Pterodactyl! Triceratops! Saber-toothed tiger! Tyrannosaurus! Yeah!
This is possibly just a leftover frame from when his scene was filmed separately. A nice attention to detail, the morpher that Tommy is filmed inside of also has the gold coloring, matching the power morpher he'd use in the series. This would remain consistent throughout each season of the show he'd be a part of. Well, Mighty Morphin, at least. Okay, anyway. We rarely would ever see our heroes pulling their power morpher out, as it would generally be assumed that it's always kept behind them on their belt buckle. Hence the hand behind their back when morphing. However, anytime we would get to see it was a treat in and of itself.
Going to morph.
Saber-toothed tiger!
In Season 2, as Tommy returned donning the new White Tiger powers, he would of course have a new morphing sequence filmed, but this time a bit differently.
Morphin' time! Tiger Zord! Triceratops! Pterodactyl!
While the general structure is the same, Jason David Frank would not be wearing the green cloak and instead a white t-shirt. While this would eventually become the standard for a while after the original Ranger cast would be partially swapped out, it stuck out pretty harshly in the beginning as no other character had their transformation scenes refilmed. As just mentioned, Austin St. John, Tui Trang, and Walter Jones, Jason, Trini, and Zach respectively, left the series as they protested for better pay, and their characters were subsequently replaced with newcomers Rocky, Aisha, and Adam.
Tigerzord, Mastodon,
Pterodactyl, saber-tooth tiger,
Tyrannosaurus.
Their morphing scenes followed the same structure as Tommy's, being filmed in a shirt matching their respective Ranger colors. This would last all the way up to the gang achieving their new ninja powers, first debuting in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie and soon transitioning into the series itself.
I am the ape.
I am the bear,
I am the wolf.
I am the crane,
I'm the frog. I am the falcon.
The morph into Ninja Rangers introduces a new starting pose, drawing a half circle and ending with whatever this is.
Ninja Ranger power now!
What's interesting about the ninja powers is that the morph is somewhat less elaborate than what we'd known before, now being a simple image transition between a half-masked character to a full-masked character and literally nothing else. The music even starts and usually stops immediately afterwards, not even lasting for 3 seconds if one ranger is entering the battle on their own.
Ninja Ranger power now! Hey, Tengen!
It's also somewhat evident how just whatever their morph call was, as Tommy often would switch up the order of words whenever they'd need their super abilities.
Ninja Ranger power now. Ranger Ninja power now.
Ninja power now!
Ranger Ninja power now. Green Ninja power now. White Ninja power now. The Ranger power now. All right, I get it.
Ninja Ranger power now! Ranger Ninja power now! Power Ninja Ranger morph! let's do it! The Power Rangers were in need of the ninja abilities after Rito Revolto destroyed the Dinozords. But after channeling their ninja powers, they'd also be granted the ability to don their original Ranger suits once again, leading to one of the more almost convoluted sequences we've ever had, where the Rangers are morphing with their original background, but while fully suited in the ninja outfits, and ending with the respective Ranger helmet zooming into the screen. All right, they really just they needed a reason just to have the Ranger suits back again. They were like, I don't know, just make it happen.
It's morphing time. White Ranger power. Black Ranger power.
Pink Ranger power!
Blue Ranger power. I get it.
Anytime after this, if the Rangers were zooming right into their original Dinozord powers instead of the ninja abilities, they of course would no longer shout the Zords' names as they were literally destroyed. So they'd instead shout their Ranger color and would now be wearing the keyed out cloak again. Oh, and also the camera would zoom in on the character's face a second late sometimes and it looked really funny.
It's morphin' time.
So I didn't put this in the script because I don't remember exactly what part of Mighty Morphin this happened in. Probably season 3, the metallic Ranger suits, when they got the metallic Ranger powers, and it was literally just a glittery suit. Their morph was also very just nothing. They were standing there and then something happened and then now the suits are there. It was very akin to the ninja powers where they didn't really have much time to film something, it seemed like. So they just did it and it was like, whatever. It was there to sell toys, okay? In Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie, slight redesigns of the Power Morpher were utilized as the Rangers each call out their original Dinozord, hold the morpher forward, and the coin flies towards the screen. The fully morphed Ranger would then strike a modified version of their signature pose from the series. After Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the morphing sequences for later teams became more visually engaging, as editing technology and budget would advance. However, Mighty Morphin would remain a team with a morph so unique, it almost couldn't stand on its own in future Legend crossovers. When Adam makes a cameo appearance in Power Rangers in Space and attempts to use a damaged Power Morpher, a new morph had been filmed showing the original background from Mighty Morphin, but with new footage of Adam throwing up his morpher. In Jason's Forever Red reappearance from Power Rangers Wild Force, the production team would reuse his original morph from season 1 as opposed to filming a new one.
Morphin' time. Tyrannosaurus. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
6 years later in Power Rangers wait, was that right? 6 years? If it wasn't, just put the actual name, put the actual time frame on the screen, please. 6 years later, in Power Rangers Operation Overdrive, during the Once a Ranger crossover, Adam would be given a brand new morphing sequence, now being filmed in front of a green screen while the Black Ranger suit materialized on top, ending with the helmet attaching in front of a superimposed Power Morpher. This new morph put together by the Disney production team perfectly encapsulates the imagination of the original morph while keeping its integrity intact, beautifully pulling elements from the original and evolving from it, with earth and gravel reacting around him signifying the Mastodon's power. At that point, this was the most elaborate reimagining of the morph for a Mighty Morphin Ranger. Power Rangers Ninja Steel would show the first on-field morph for a Mighty Morphin Ranger as Tommy returns wielding the Master Morpher to become the original Green and White Rangers.
Tiger Sword! White Ranger power! Dragon Sword! Green Ranger power!
In Power Rangers Beast Morphers, Jason returns yet again as the Red Ranger, and the morph also is on field, being a standard show of glowing effects.
It's morphin' time! Tyrannosaurus!
This would also be the case for the 2023 Netflix special, Once and Always, except here we'd see what looks to be the power surging from the morpher itself and onto the character, as well as a fully refilmed recreation of the original morph from the first 3 seasons of the series.
Alright then, it's morphin' time!
Over 30 years, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers have served a cultural phenomenon across the world. The visuals are unique, and no matter the time period, as long as we remember what time it is, the world surely doesn't stand a chance. With this, I'd hoped to go through time and appreciate the visuals of something that was so integral to Power Rangers, just the morphing sequence in general. We all remember the morph. We all remember trying to emulate the morph. And I, as a visual effects artist, have always just been mesmerized just by what they could do with this short few second scene over the years. And you know, if you enjoyed this, let me know. Let me know in the comments, and if you'd want to see more of this for other teams, because I'm very much interested in continuing this for other teams. So let me know what you thought of this video, and thank you guys for watching. Andrew, Brandon, Caroline, Daisy, Donnie, Emilia, Gwen, Helen, Ian, Jake, Junior the Hedgehog, Common J, Caitlin, Matthew, Megley, Mia T. Toon, Nerdy Disney, our friend Barney, Prima Donna. Thank you to all of my lovely patrons for boarding my rainbow line. See you!